What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Daily Fan Racing Quick Pick Show. Hopefully, that's the title we're going with. I'm not entirely sure yet. Appreciate you checking out the show again. I know we had a fun but interesting Daytona race last week. Denny Hamlin just wasn't able to get back on the lead lap, but I thought he was looking good early. Just didn't get a break. Of course, he gets another pit road penalty, which sets him back, which hurt our plays. But we're going to ignore that, pretend like it never happened, and give it a go one more time this week. I feel good about it, just like I did last week. So hopefully we can nail them. Appreciate you checking out the show. If you can do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this race, who you're liking, things like that. I think there's a lot of ways to go in this race. Qualifying was very, very interesting. So looking forward to it. I think it'll be a fun one to watch, and hopefully some people can win some money. Playing DFS with this one. That's the goal, right? So appreciate you checking out the show as always, and let's get into it. So Darlington, best track on the circuit. I love it. I love everything about it. Even though with this car, passing is pretty difficult, and even with tire fall off, it seems like every team is falling off equally. It's still fun to watch. It still provided a pretty good race here in the spring with the late carnage between Larson, Chastain, Truex, the crashes and everything. Was pretty good. The racing here is just always been good regardless. I'm a fan of long green flag runs and tire wear and tire management and strategy and all that type of stuff. So this is always up my alley. And then I feel like Darlington is the best track to go see a race at. Sitting in turn 4, watching the cars rip the walls, the best thing out there. So definitely recommend doing that for sure. I think it's great. And I'm looking forward to this one. I think Darlington's got a lot of positive vibes around it, and it's a great kickoff for the playoffs for NASCAR. So loving that. 367 laps, tons and tons of Dominator points. So if you're building lineups, definitely make sure you're focusing on that. That Dominators are far more important. We have seen quite a few Dominators kind of bust the last couple of races. Some of that's Larson, Chastain wrecking, Truex wrecking. We saw last year Kyle Busch had a motor issue. Martin Truex had a water pump issue, and I think someone else had an issue. So it hasn't been as clean for our best drivers. They definitely had some issues. Oh, Kevin Harvick was running up front, and I think he had the car catch fire as well last fall. So lots of weird things have happened the last couple of races, but when those Dominators hit, they smash. They get a lot of points, and they can really set your lineups apart. So you want to make sure you're on those guys. With that in mind, I'm going to give 4 plays this week. Favorite Dominator play, favorite mid-range tournament play, favorite value tournament play, and then, of course, we're going to start with our favorite cash play. So favorite cash play should be pretty straightforward for everyone. If anyone else is not doing this, you should question them pretty massively. But Martin Truex starting 31st, super fast here over the course of the last 12 races. I think he's led 28 or more laps in 8 of the last 12, and he's led 145 laps here in the spring. Tons of laps led here, tons of speed. He had a top 10 car in practice, probably a top 5 car. He looked pretty strong. His Toyota teammates are starting on the pole in first, second there for Bell and Hamlin. So as a whole, Toyota seems to have good speed. I think he'll be able to recover from this qualifying position, and he'll get a really good result. Even if he doesn't lead or doesn't win, he should have a pretty good floor in here of about 55, 60 points. And his upside is that he does win. He does get, to the lead at some point. He does click off 20, 30, 40 fast lap speeds. He's that good on long runs, things like that. And he can really get you a good score to help your cash lineup cash. We're just trying to fish in that top 40%. So I do like Truex there. I think he's kind of a no-brainer. He's just got huge place differential ability, and we can kind of rely on that. He had the water pump issue last fall. We can't really say much about that. He crashed out after dominating early in the spring here. I'm going to ignore that variance and just kind of assume that he's going to be able to get to the top 10, get us a nice points total, and then set us up for a solid cash. Next up, going to get into my favorite Dominator play. So this one, probably a bit obvious as well. I think everyone should be on it, and that's Christopher Bell. First off, 9,400 for a Dominator. Love it. I love the fact that he's so cheap. And the most important thing here is that he starts first. If you look at our first 3 races here with this next-gen car, 145 laps for Truex earlier this year, and then 64 laps and 107 laps led from our pole setters. I believe it might have been Joe Logano in both of them. I wish I wrote that down, but basically averaging over 3 races, smaller sample size, but 100 laps led from our pole setters here. It's incredibly difficult to pass the pole setter or pass the car up front, I should say. So once a guy gets the lead, it's impossible to pass him, if we're being honest. It's very, very tricky. And so I love that aspect. We should have long green flag runs. As always with Darlington, it's more about racing the track than necessarily the rest of the field early on. So you're going to race the track, put your best foot forward, and that's really going to help anyone that grabs lead early. You're not going to get a lot of pressure. So Bell has the ability to go out there and click off 50, 60 laps led here early. If he's able to maintain the lead through the first pit cycle, he can just keep clicking them off. Again, first pit stall is a huge advantage for him as well. So there's a lot of upside here with Bell leading early. His price point actually helps us a ton too, because he's not 11K. He doesn't have to, hit 100 laps led. If he gets us 40, 50 laps led, 20 fast laps, finishes 5th, 6th, 7th, he's still going to be very, very good play. So I love what we got there from Bell. To hedge this a little bit, you can go Hamlin. Hamlin starting second there. If Hamlin does jump him early, then that's where you want to be on. That's the most likely driver that's going to jump Bell for this first section of the race. So I do like, make sure you got some Hamlin for that reason. I do like playing them together. If the Toyotas are that strong, both Bell and Hamlin have the ability to score big. So Bell's my favorite dominator play. There's a lot of good potential dominators starting deeper in the field. Larson, Truex, like we mentioned, Kyle Busch even starting a little bit deeper, who could be a sneaky play. There's some options with place differential attached to them that could be good. And then you got, the guy starting up front. And then it's really interesting to see the speed Blaney showed. Both RFK cars look pretty strong. Keselowski sneaky good here. And then you got Kevin Harvick sitting there as well. So a lot of options to kind of be different if you want for dominators, but Bell feels like an easy way to lock in about 50 to 100 laps led early. So I really like that play. Next up, my favorite mid-range tournament play is going to be Bubba Wallace. He's sitting at 8,200, starts 19th. Literally mid-range at 8,200. That's the best way to put it. And I love two aspects of this. One, he offers us place differential. He has the ability to add points to his total. The other play that I was considering all week here was Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott is very, very strong at this track, and he's just above Wallace in the pricing. And to me, Elliott was like a no-brainer. I was like, this guy's going to finish top 10 very frequently here. I do still like Chase Elliott, but Bubba Wallace, I think, should come in at lower ownership. He has the ability to finish top 10 here. He was pretty strong in the spring. He was 5th, and he had potentially race-winning or stage-winning speed early in the race. He was 9th here last fall as well. His intermediate program with 2311 in the last 2 years has been fantastic. He's a top 10 threat or even a top 5 threat almost every single time out on intermediates. He was 4th in overall average speed in practice, which is a big plus as well. I think the speeds here, I like that he adds place differential potential. If he finishes 10th without a single fast lap, he's going to score 43 points. So give me that type of upside. The fact that he does have top 5 upside, the fact that he can add a ton of place differential points, and the fact that he probably will score even a few 6, 7, 8 fast laps to kind of boost that score as well. I think he lines up perfectly to pair up with 2 or 3 dominator strategy. He's low enough in price, so I really like Bubba Wallace there. And then lastly, my favorite value play is just at the upper reaches of the value tier. 7,000, it's Ricky Stenhouse. So he starts 25th. He's a guy that scored really well here in the spring with 13th place finish. He's finished top 20 in 5 of the last 6 races. And I think over the last 4 races here, he's got to finish the 17th, 8th, and the 13th here in the spring. So I think there's a lot of potential here with Stenhouse. He's solid at this track in general. First race of the playoffs for them. They've come in pretty decently in practice. They're 16th overall in average, 13th and 15 lap average. 15 lap average isn't quite 20, 30, 40 lap runs like we'll see in the race. We'll see longer than that. But Stenhouse does have good speed in the long runs, and overall everything kind of checks the boxes here with Stenhouse for me speed wise. From 25th, if he can finish 15th, that's going to be a great day for me at 7K. I think 15th is a realistic expectation for him, given that where he's at, the speed he's shown, his history at the track, and kind of what they need as a playoff team. I think he should be hunting for a top 15. And 15th is 28 points plus 10 place differential. It's 38 points at 7K. There's fast lap equity with Stenhouse as well. With anyone in this race, if we're being honest, any driver in this race can rack up 6, 8, 10 fast laps because, one, we're going to see varying pit strategy. That's important. Guys will short pit, they'll go long and get off sequence, and that'll get them fresher tires, right? So anyone can rack up some fast laps to kind of boost their score. But there's 367 laps. There's a lot of laps out there to spread that around. So I think Stenhouse can boost that with a few fast laps, a good solid finish. He'll be a little bit sneaky because he's 7K. There's some guys under him like Austin Dillon starting 28th. You got Ryan Preece, he'll be chalky at from 30th, I believe. He's so cheap. And there's some other cheap plays. Harrison Burton has a great track record here. He's super cheap. I didn't want to give someone in that 5K range this week. I wanted to be a little bit different. So Winston House, but there's lots of options here in the value tier. And the one good thing, the one positive I like about Bubba Wallace and Rick Stenhouse, I think they have a greater chance of staying on the lead lap early. I'm a little worried about Ryan Preece starting 30th or some of those guys, Burton, going a lot down early and getting trapped there. Where Bubba Wallace 19th, Stenhouse 25th, they give us place differential, but I think they can be on the lead lap for a long period of this race. Sets them up once things kind of shake out later in the race that they can, take advantage of some mistakes of others and whatnot, and get those top 10, top 15 finishes that we're shooting for. So really like both those. That'll do it. Those are my 4 plays. Hopefully they come through. I'd love for all 4 of them to smash and we come in here and win a bunch of money. That's it. Like the channel for me, or subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. I'm not good at the YouTube thing at all. I can never be a YouTuber. I just don't know how to hit the marks. But definitely, please let us know in the comments who you like for this. And that's it. I appreciate it. I love you guys for your support as always. Make sure to tell your friend, cousin, nephew, 8-year-old niece if she's in the racing. I don't know. I didn't cuss on this one, so it should be good for her. But I appreciate you guys for checking it out. Please spread the word. Let everyone know as much as you can that we exist. And best of luck with your lineups. See you guys.